I've labeled this show, Bobby Jensen, the Lazy Gardener Show, late summer gardening tips. Tip number 1, yes, sound effect, please. Tip number 1, beer, as always.
Beer's here.
No matter what
the
season.
dog days of summer.
Are you drinking like a dog-like
Cheers.
brand, or
Look,
are you
lapping
drinking
I
it
have
like a
bowl.
dog?
I have a bowl in front of me.
I've never tried drinking beer in a bowl dog fashion, but I could be tempted. Probably after
good for slugs.
Probably
It's
after
probably
6 or
good for
7
us.
when I'm not, needing to drive anywhere. Yes, indeed.
Right.
The Lazy Gardeners with yours truly, BT and Bobby Jensen here on the Alive and Social Network. Good to see you. I was on vacation for a week, and you were
On
out, so we
vacation?
had a bye week going on there, and now we're
missed you,
back in the
buddy.
saddle. Missed you too,
I missed
pal.
you. I mean, I was there alone.
I missed you, Bay.
BAE.
BAE.
We
BAE,
know,
Bay.
What is that?
It's an acronym. Before anything else.
Right.
You come before anything else, Bay. That's right, Bay.
Or it's short for babe, which is really bizarre.
Which is bizarre because
We left the B out.
we left the second B out. We weren't lazy enough to put the first one in. We did that,
That's some
but
lazy
we are
stuff.
lazy enough to leave the second one out. We'll just call it Bay.
Bay.
So it's good to see you there, buddy.
It is good. I missed you. We all both had some time off. It was nice and relaxing.
I really saw this amazing cross section of plants because this forest where
Up
the
in the
cabin
woods.
was, where I was staying. It got to a point where I was trying to identify some of the ferns, and this just in the back of my head. It's not like I'm, plant geek. Hey, everybody, look at here. It's a phyto blah, 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 blah.
Let me take out my plant guide.
My genus and species guide.
Right.
But, you just try to pick out the trees and the things. This is a white pine, this is a red pine, but there's just such a variety in this forest where we were that I just had to stop and just let it soak in and
It's
just
beautiful.
enjoy
We got up
it.
to Itasca,
Oh, nice.
walked across the mouth of the headwaters of the Mississippi,
Yeah.
and then down it. And we walked down it for about
Did
half
you?
a mile.
Oh, that's nice. I like the fact that when we walk across those stones at Itasca, that's the created headwaters.
That is the creative.
Yeah, because it used to be down on the other side of the lake in this real swampy area.
Oh, was that really?
Yeah.
And that's how it came out of the
yeah,
swamp?
Yeah, and so it came out, and that's where the original headwaters was in just this crappy part, literally sort of this crappy part of the lake. And they figured, well, this is a tourist attraction. It's a
ruin
big
it.
thing. It's still the headwaters. It's still coming out of
Don't
that
ruin it.
lake.
It's
Still
God.
coming out of the lake. But yeah, they kind of dug a little channel and said, "No, we'll make this it. No, we can put some stones here and
And
get some
bridges.
More,
We got bridges.
Get some more people to show up
They had
and
people.
support this
but
deal
it is
here.
beautiful.
Oh, it's
But
lovely.
And they did a nice job up there because it's all old. Everything is, I think, WPA.
Oh yeah.
Or
Yeah, it's all that 1930s
Yeah,
New Deal
yep,
construction,
New
the
Deal.
Civilian Conservation Corps that was up there.
CCC, yeah.
That was up there back in the 30s.
They did some nice work, man. They
And
really
the
did.
age of those trees. I mean,
I went.
I had the same experience in the forest where I was, that there were 150-year-old white pines.
Well, the one there's three. They say 300 plus.
Yeah, in Itasca.
Yeah, the red pine.
One of the red pines there. So it's just amazing. You can feel, I don't know, I'm a hippy-dippy guy, as you well know. But I tell you, I go up to creatures like that, trees like that, and I put my hands on them. I mean, am I hugging it? Okay, yeah, occasionally I do. But when I'm getting, I can feel the energy. I can. I feel, I just feel the life
They are
force.
alive. They're alive.
Exactly. I
I
can
mean, it's
feel
not
that
like-
life force, and it's just a calming feeling. It's not like a unless I've had 6 or 7 of those beers, and I'm going to be drinking it out of the dog bowl later.
There you go.
But you can feel just the energy. There's just this calming,
It's
palpable
150
energy.
years old.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's real
almost
energy.
as old as the country.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, it's ridiculous. It's tremendous.
We didn't
It's-
have railroads when this thing was
No.
around, or something like
right,
that.
until we chopped it all down to make railroads.
Yeah, right. We need to. we need to get that going.
That's like the old saying where.
Pave paradise, put up a parking
Well, yeah,
lot.
but I even got a better one where builders come in and they clear the land and then name streets after trees.
Yeah. Maple
They take
Street.
all the trees down and this is Elm Street. And it's true when you ride around, you're like, geez.
Filled
what the
with
heck?
crappy silver maples
Yeah, right.
that'll grow fast and gangly,
die and
then
kill each other.
Oh man! So we got an edition of the Lazy Gardener Show today that's about summer and late summer gardening because we're into August and we got a bunch of different topics to get to. One thing I want to bring up right off the top is the skeeters. The skeeters.
Well, you can plant plants that keep them away.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
There's citronella plants and things like that. Actually, it's a geranium which they've spliced a citronella in
Mm-hmm.
to give it some smell. But yeah, mints I think will work somewhat on them and stuff like that.
Well,
But
there's a little lazy technique that you can do when you got your beer in your hand.
I got the lazy one when you're on the deck.
And I'm just
fan.
all I'm getting at here is while you're just wandering around checking on the status of the plants, just keep your eyes open for any pots or anything that might be sitting out there with water in them. Literally that has a place where the water can pool.
Tires, anything.
And just turn it over. Just take a few seconds and turn it over. That little bit of lazy gardening right there will keep them skeeters from having a place where they can hatch the larvae and right there where you live.
On.
So just do that, or if you're cleaning out the gutters, obviously, just make sure there's no water pooled out
I
there.
put a fan on my deck.
Not I've done that too.
Not an up fan, a blowing fan.
Exactly.
They're not great flyers.
No, they're not.
So if you got any sort of breeze,
away.
you blow them away from you.
Yeah, that's why when you're out there, when
we're
it's breezy,
so lazy, we don't want to slap.
Exactly.
I'm too big. I got things in my hand. How am I going to slap?
I'm only lazy enough to bring the fan out and plug it in and turn it on.
Turn on oscillating.
That's all I got here.
I'm done.
So get Daddy another beer and put it in the dog bowl this time,
There you go.
please.
There you
So because this is the time when you're going to get them coming on, just irritating you. You want to be outside, especially in that latter part of the summer here,
Right,
and enjoy those. We're not into the last gasps yet, but
No.
for crying out loud, we're in that latter part, and you want to get out there and enjoy it.
And you do get, it's at that time where it's really pretty, dusk, just pre-dusk. And,
Oh, yeah.
if you can wait it out or go out later, they're usually gone. But it's that pre-dusk time, man. They nail you good.
Yeah,
and
they
I'm
do.
one of those that must give off CO2.
Whatever
it is.
Yeah, you're one of the traps.
I'm
so to speak.
I'm an attractant.
Yeah. Bobby,
So if I'm on your lawn, if I'm with you, you really don't have to worry about much because they're coming for me.
Bobby, can you stay away just a
Right.
foot or two?
Stand in the corner.
Just a foot or two.
Stand in the corner.
I wanted to ask you about tomatoes right out of the chute, too, because we didn't plant a whole lot of tomatoes. Got a really good plant going in one of the pots, though, and I've kept it fertilized and kept it well watered, pulling off some nice maters off there. And is there a philosophy or a way of thinking where you can, if you get those tomatoes off, obviously, and eat them right away, is there a way to make the plant give you more, or is it only going to give you so many? I mean, if you...
Well, I don't know if it's only going to give you so many. I mean, there's determinate plants and indeterminate plants. Determinate plants, as it says, stop growing, so therefore you probably stop flowering.
Got it.
At some point in time. Indeterminate grows forever, so you'd get more, I would believe, on that one longer. But in our seasons up here in the North Country, we're pretty good. You don't have to really worry about it much, as long as you got flowers. The worst is, if our temperatures got over 70 degrees at night, because then they shut down.
Then they shut down. They like the cool.
They like the cool
overnights.
nights. They like the cool nights. But
Now, while I'm getting tomatoes, I'm not paying close attention. Am I still getting some blossoms on there?
yeah, you should
still
be
pushing
you
some
should
out there.
See some. Yeah, I must have picked a dozen last night that were between pink to red because I'll let them ripen, in a bowl instead of just picking them all when they're super ripe.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And I
too.
had a whole bunch of green, and I had more flowers.
More flowers, okay.
So,
If you get the tomatoes off there, does it push more energy
well, yeah,
to the flowers?
because that's the idea. Why
So that's
there's
what I'm getting at, yeah.
a tomato is a fruit, which is really a seed cover.
Yeah, so it's leaching energy in itself.
It wants to produce. It wants to produce fruit.
Yeah.
Just like with flowers, when a flower goes to seed, it wants to do that. If you don't, if you
if you don't deadhead,
if
it's
you
going to take
deadhead
energy.
it's going to try to grow more flowers.
Yeah, it's going to
because
take
that's what
energy.
it wants to do,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things you should do this month is deadhead.
Is deadhead. Okay. So
That's a big deal.
pull those flowers off because you're going to get some more late
Right.
summer blossoms.
Right, and
then.
it's a good time after your summer blooming shrubs. Now's the perfect time to cut them back.
Okay.
Because after that, you cut back summer blooming shrubs after they bloom.
Yeah.
So now they're almost all done, or a good majority is done. Time, except maybe for your hydrangeas, which you want to keep for cutting flowers in the fall.
Oh, and those look great
I
too.
didn't even leave them. I like the winter. I like the snow going through them too.
Yeah.
But those are the kind of things that you can do now. Take a look at take a look. A really good thing is take some pictures. If you got something or did something you like, take a picture.
Yeah, and
save
document
the
it so you
picture.
can see what you did.
And then next year you don't say what I do. You were talking about your pots before.
Yeah.
Take a picture of your pots, your flower pots. I really like this setup I did.
Right.
Well, take a picture of it, put it in a little scrapbook, or now with our phones.
digital, save
Yeah,
it, I
now
go-
with digital. In the old days, we used to paste it into
Oh,
a
yeah,
scrapbook.
exactly.
With those little things you
With
put
little
on
tabs
the
on the
corners.
corners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now you just take it, make a folder, say.
Yeah, on your iPhone or your smartphone. Right. It's
Anything.
my gardening folder,
It's my gardening folder.
or garden summer 2015
And
or
it's
whatever.
either way, good or bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
keep,
you
yeah,
got
keep the mistakes there too. That's a really great idea.
You take a picture of it and say, don't do that next year because, we all kind of forget when you get in that roll going in the spring where I'm going crazy. This helps you decide what you can do and what you did do you liked.
Wow, you really brought up a great thought in that I think we always have a tendency to take a picture of the pretty things or the things that work, but, for that working methodology, to have pictures of what didn't and remind you of
probably
that.
Better.
Probably better. Right.
Because you won't make the same mistake over and over and over.
I like that. Is this the time of the year to we hear it all the time. Shrubs and trees. Are we getting there yet, or is it more fall, or are we prepping for that? They always say,
I think evergreens.
Get them in the ground in the fall.
Right. Evergreens to me should be put in early because after a certain date, and it varies, especially with the way seasons are changing. But sometime in September, you really shouldn't plant evergreens anymore.
Okay.
People do it, and you get some sort of success.
Is it just too close to winter at that point for them to establish a good that root in there?
Evergreens don't lose their leaves, so they need the moisture. Yeah. They need, that's what keeps an evergreen green all winter is that storage of moisture that they have in a leaf.
Yeah.
So if you do it too late, it doesn't have time to do that, and you'll get dieback or death. Okay. So now is a good time, anytime now to do evergreens, but just like sod, evergreens, anything, you got to water.
Yeah, and that makes complete sense when you mention the whole evergreen holding onto the water. That's what's keeping the leaf green. If it doesn't have a chance to establish the roots in the soil and then let those roots do what they're supposed to do, which is soak up the water.
Exactly.
But they got to get established first.
They're not going to do it in a bowl.
Yeah, they're not going to do it that way. Right.
So, so that's one. But, deciduous shrubs, like we always say, perennials, deciduous shrubs, you could buy them as long as you can hack into the ground. It's not a crazy thing to do that. Perennials, you're buying a root. You don't really care what it looks like now.
Yeah, right.
You're buying it for next year.
You're buying season, yeah.
You're buying a shrub if it's okay. Well, shrubs, you want it to look better, but get them in the ground early too. But you can't, the old saying was fall is for planting. And it is. Well, probably more for human beings than the plant. This way you're not, it's cool, it's moist, you get rain, you get dew. The pressure isn't on you to make sure you keep it alive by, because we're due for some 90s soon, man.
Oh, God, yeah. We're going to get them into September this year, I think, more than any.
Well, look at New York.
Everything's a little later.
New York's been insanely warm, insanely hot.
Has it been like 100 degrees plus?
Yeah, 100 degrees plus.
Oh, boy.
In that whole East Coast, everywhere pretty much. Mm-hmm. We haven't had a lot of 90s, but we've been warm. We've been in the 80s. It's been nice in Minnesota.
Well, it's been like out of the last 26 days, 24 of them or 23 of them have been 80 plus.
Right.
Every
80 plus.
High temp.
When you get up in that 88, 89, it gets a little
I'm just glad it's not July like last year when, every day was a 90 plus.
Yeah, we had more. Plus. We had ridiculous.
I think I remember Belinda saying it, that last year, every day in July was at least 80 or more. And then a percentage of them were 90 or more, and that overnight temps never dropped below. I think it was 80.
It never hit 70.
Yeah, it was
78, 79, 80.
75. I know the figure was right there. That overnight temps never dropped below that. So it was a warm one last year.
It was kind of crazy, kind of good. This has been very nice, and the rain has been as much as we've needed. Mm-hmm. Coming usually at night or
the right amounts at the right time.
Yeah, mm-hmm. It's been really good that way.
I was talking to my pal Stephanie, and she had the same thing going on that I do. She's got a big bearded iris bed.
It's time.
And I've got one of them on a side of my house.
Okay.
Where you get that styrofoam insulation that you put up against the foundation bricks.
Yep.
And I got to tear that out because it was previous owner that did it, and that's fine. It worked, for a lot of years. It's just getting crumbly and old, and I just want to put something that has a nicer face on it because you can buy that stuff now
with face,
and it's got like a wood sort of face this, and it's attractive. This has just got the sort of that concrete where you smear the concrete on, paint the concrete on, and then paint it, and so it's the color of my house, but it's looking crappy and cracking, and then water's getting behind there now. Not a big deal because water would get there anyhow if there wasn't any styro there. It doesn't matter. It's more the insulation, but I just want it to look nicer. But I got to get those bearded irises out of there because that whole bed's along that side of the house. Steph's got a different situation than mine, but still she wants to move this whole bearded iris bed, and she's got a bunch like I do that didn't come up very well this year because I probably should have split them a year or 2 or 3 years ago. So is this the time to do those
You're right
bulbs?
there. You're real close.
Yeah,
You're real close to bearded iris, cutting them back.
Okay.
getting them ready for next year, making a nice little fan and all of that.
So do that
and
fan,
dividing.
do the fan cut on the
fan.
leaves. Do that now, even, do you think?
No,
or?
I'd wait till it yellows a little bit. But if
Okay.
you're going to move them, yeah. If
Okay,
you're not
that's
going
what
to move them,
I'm going to move them all. So
yeah,
get
if you're
that
going to
cut
move
on
them
there
quick,
right now.
if you're going to move them now, then cut them back.
Okay.
If you're not going to move them, until later, let them yellow. Because the leaves do yellow and put energy back into the bulb itself.
And you don't want to cut them too early before you're going to move them, or does that matter a whole lot? Nah,
Well, I wouldn't cut them now and move them in 3 weeks.
Okay, gotcha.
I'd cut them as I'm moving.
I'm moving 'em.
If I was going to move them, I would cut them because the root system that you'd have would be able to support the plant that's on top.
Yeah, okay.
If it's big and tall and you got a little baby root system, you're going to have issues anyway.
Now, am I going to use my? I'm gonna obviously dig them out gently. Am I going to use my my super sharp Felco garden shears to cut them, or what?
I don't know. I might use the scissors.
Scissors or just something
A
sharp?
cleaner
yeah.
cut. A cleaner cut.
Yeah. Well, those
I mean, a Felco clean cut. If your Felco's good and
super
sharp,
clean,
and
yeah.
you can cut them. I got no. I love my Felco.
Oh yeah.
But if not, I'd use a pair of scissors and a 1 to 10 mixture of bleach and 10 water, 1 bleach.
Yeah.
Keep it around, and every once in a while dunk it in there so you're not transferring any diseases or anything. And
Okay.
You should pretty much do that whenever you're doing anything. But speaking of diseases,
Any kind of bulbs is what you're saying,
or pruning.
Okay.
It's not bad to do in pruning. It's hard to get people to do it, but it's just better.
So when it comes to pruning, you mean dipping my blade in there?
Yeah,
Is that,
just dip it in
Yeah.
every once in a while to kill off anything
Yep.
that you're
Yep.
moving from one plant to the next plant.
Gotcha.
And it's you bring up another good point. Let's take a look at what doesn't look good and bad. If there's dead and diseased leaves, get them out of the reason you want to remove them now is one simple reason. The leaves are going to fall down, everything's going to mix up, and you might have something in your soil that will then grow on.
Yeah.
So get rid of them now. If you
Yeah.
see something bad, you see some dead or diseased leaves, pull them off. Get
Do
rid
it
of
now.
them. Do
Yeah,
it
it's
now.
a lazy gardener way because it's going to save you time in the long run.
Because
right?
it'll spread.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you don't want that. You don't want that at all. But this is a great time. Just think about, it's keep picking your fruit, keep picking your vegetables. The more you pick, the more you're going to get. I know 10 million pounds of zucchini will drive you crazy, but pick it anyway.
Right.
Give it to a friend,
Yep, yep.
donate it, do something.
Well, I love zucchini bread, so if you anybody listening,
We'll take
got
some,
the
well, we
podcast,
asked
drop
for
it
something-
off.
We did ask for something a while ago from someone, and we haven't gotten it. So
We haven't had a delivery.
if you're out there, remember,
That's right.
we remember these things.
We're still waiting on our delivery.
We know where you live.
But I do love that zucchini bread.
Oh, I love-
all that kind of stuff, man.
Crazy whoever said let's make bread with zucchini.
With zucchini, right?
that's
but
like-
I love carrot cake too, and carrot bread,
Right.
and all that kind
But
of
it
stuff.
must have been around, and then somebody said, "Well, what the hell?"
It's delicious.
Right.
All of those great recipes are delicious. So the bulb thing,
Well, spring bulbs,
Yeah.
not summer flowering
right? No,
bulbs.
it's got me on a bulb thought though. So those are the spring bulbs. Get them moved and get them transplanted.
No, those are the summer
Or
flowering bulbs.
excuse me, summer bulbs. The tulips and other spring bulbs.
Spring bulbs. Start to think about them.
You start to think about what you can do with those guys then too, huh?
We'll start to think about buying them
Yeah, and getting them in
and getting them in, because there's some will proliferate and some,
Now I've
to me-
heard I've heard this about the spring bulbs, and help me. It's my grandma used to tell me this. When you're putting them in the summer like this and getting ready for next year, she used to refrigerate those things for like 6 to 8, 6 weeks. She would put them so they'd get that chill, that they need, that they like to have, that they'd get in the ground.
You really only do that if you're going to force them,
Okay,
because then you're tricking them.
okay, got it.
If you put them in the ground early enough and they're in the ground and the winter comes, that's what they need anyway. I don't think it harmed them.
Are there? Can you do that with fall? If you got some fall bulbs, you could put in right now.
Like
You
colchicum and things like
so
that.
you could do that with them, and
No, you
and
just stick them in the ground.
just stick them in the
They
ground.
they don't need that. The others need that. The spring flowering bulbs need that to go through their cycle.
Okay.
The fall flowering plants like the colchicum and fall blooming crocus, things like that, they just got to be put in the ground. and
Right,
they'll
because
bloom.
they don't need that.
they
cold
don't need the cold. They
preceding
get their
it, yeah.
cold eventually.
Okay.
but that's not what triggers their flowering.
All right. Old grandma's
Like
tale.
Grandma, you're okay,
Old
Grandma.
grandma tale.
I
Yeah.
love you, babe.
She's long gone.
Bae.
Yeah,
I love you,
Love
Bae.
you, Bae. Yeah, Grandma, you come before anything else, Grandma.
go.
Love you, Bae. Love you indeed. Peonies, lilies. Irises, we can start splitting all those bad
Well,
boys right
I'd
now.
wait
Or
a little
close.
bit.
Okay.
I'd wait a little bit. I mean, let them go through their cycle.
Now, I want you to give us some insight into the lily and the peony and the iris root structure, because I got a couple of peony areas, and I've seen others, where they get pretty big. Do they spread through the ground so that you literally can get in there and cut, and
divide them?
And divide
Not
them?
really.
Okay.
You really can't divide a peony.
Okay.
I've tried it. I know people that say they have success, but it's not a plant that it doesn't grow.
It doesn't have a rhizome
It doesn't grow
or whatever?
from multiple. It grows
Yeah.
from a single kind of deal.
All right.
And like we've told everybody, you get your peonies, you need to make sure that they keep their roots nice and cool.
Yeah.
Keep those roots
Well,
cool.
like the clematis
Sort
idea.
of like a clematis.
Yeah,
Sort
got
of
to
like
keep
a
it there.
clematis,
But if I got a cluster that's just huge, so I think I want to cut it back in size. So I think I'm going to dig out half of it and move it to another spot.
See if you can.
Yeah.
See if you can. See what happens. I mean, you'll see that it's hard to see where to cut. You know what I mean? When you pull up your lilies or whatever, or your iris, you see different chunks of it.
Right.
Where you say, okay, I'll cut this and save this. Oh, this is a nice big chunk.
Save this over
It's
here.
not the same with peonies.
Okay.
So you're not gonna, you don't. It's hey, in this industry or this life that we live, I don't say do anything.
Right.
You give it a shot. I mean,
Go for it.
I'm not Mother Nature. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's been many times I say that doesn't work, and then some lady calls me up and says, "Well, I did that. I worked like
Yeah,
hell."
it worked wonderfully.
Right. So
I did put those bulbs in the refrigerator,
right.
mister.
I never ever say that this is a definitive.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with Mother Nature. So take a look at it if you think you can do it, but don't ruin your peony, man.
Yeah, because I got some beauties out there.
I mean,
so.
if the worst comes to worst, maybe you want to cut some parts of it off or something.
Yeah, okay.
Prune it more than divide it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't. We will go to the Google and check it, but I don't think you can divide peonies well.
I got some lilies of the valley that are kind of spreading everywhere, too.
Kind of spreading everywhere. Kind of spread. Gee, that's really good if you got there only kind of spread.
It is-
You're doing quite well
It is,
then.
it is kind of, actually.
Right. Well,
but,
give them a little time.
yeah, I know it. Well, I want to stop them from kind of spreading.
can dig them
Can
up.
you just dig those
Dig 'em
guys
up.
up, too?
You dig up the
Dig them
pips.
and replant them? Or
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Sure, they're easy. I mean,
Yeah.
they're kind of spread.
Yeah.
No problem, B. Just dig them up, wherever you want it
Now,
to
why
start.
do they spread so much? I mean, are they doing it through the ground? Are they going through
Rhizomes and
yeah,
things
so
like
they are interconnecting and pushing out to another location, right?
And I
right.
think seed too.
yeah,
I think because you always see that little seed head on it. I mean, that's you want to grow something in the shade and not have to worry about it ever. Not a bad plan.
lilies of the valley
Not a bad plan.
and wild geranium because it'll
Yep,
go crazy
that'll go
too.
Crazy too.
Mhm.
Just let them go.
Yeah,
let them go. I
yeah.
mean, there are points and places that is where it works.
Oh God! Well, I got the wild geranium planted underneath one of my pine trees.
Yeah, and spread like the dickens.
and it's just great. Yeah, yeah. I
And nothing
planted
else
them-
is going to grow there.
Nope.
And,
that
and it's
that
not,
hugely acidic soil. It's difficult
and
to
it's
grow.
not
anything.
even the acidity.
No, I'm just saying
It
a lot of plants won't grow in that kind of thing, but the geranium does just fine.
And I believe the reason they won't grow there is because there's no freaking light.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
too.
the biggest deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never found anything that was so acidic that plants won't grow there.
Gotcha.
But they'll grow. They won't grow there, and it's not. They don't suck out the moisture. They don't suck out the food. There's no light. It's
just
underneath the big old tree.
right.
And a lot of things. So that's why you want to go with the things that you're going with that will grow in those conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there are some that certainly want more acidic than not, but I've never found it to be that crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm a lazy gardener.
I'm a lazy gardener.
Stick it under there, see what happens.
Now, what if folks want to go lazy on some bare patches in their yard where they want to put some grass seed down? What's the laziest path for that? Now's the time to do that too, right?
I'd wait a little bit.
Okay.
Well, but like we were saying, it's going to get hot.
Okay.
It's going to get hot. I like the, peat moss, compost. Some people put vermiculite or maybe more perlite because it holds water.
As a base of
No,
soil.
put it in a 5-gallon pail.
Yeah.
Throw in the grass seed, and I throw in. If it says 2 pounds 1,000 square feet, I'm probably throwing in 5.
Okay.
But you're talking about a pail, so throw a bunch.
You got a big
in there,
Homer bucket.
mix it all up, and then walk around and spread that.
Spread that. Okay.
Well, because it's all connected. It's all together. The peat moss will give it moisture. The compost will hold moisture and feed it, and it'll protect it. So the way things are going, you seem to be able to plant later than we used to be able to.
Yeah.
So I would probably wait. Oh, big deal. I'm saying wait till September. That ain't that far away anymore.
Right.
I mean, September's what, 2 weeks?
What if a listener to the podcast here, and in my case, I've got an area where I know I'm going to be able to water it regularly. Then are we okay? I mean, I could do it now. It's a
And
matter.
that's the only thing we're dealing with.
It's a matter of
Do
keeping
the same
the
thing.
real deal is a matter of keeping water on it, right?
it moist.
Because I don't care if it's 90 degrees for a bunch of days in August and September.
If you're watering it.
if I'm out there and I can get it,
Right.
keep it watered.
But if you go up to the North Shore of your cabin for 2 weeks,
that's why That's why I know.
Mort.
That's why I know I can do it now.
Right, 'cause
because
you're around.
Because I'm going to be around
you're
for a
around.
stretch here, at
I
least a
remember
couple 3
whenever
months
you're
now.
watering those things, you don't want puddles,
Yeah.
especially bare lawn. In that, you don't want to see a puddle. You just want to mist it, water it, give it a little bit of water 2-3 times a day. And as things start, the only bad part about grass seed, ryegrass 7 to 10 days germination.
Yeah.
Bluegrass and fescue 28 days or so.
Yeah.
So
Longer.
that's a long time.
Yep.
It's a long time to make sure you're not letting it dry out. You know what I mean? So
Right.
just be diligent. I mean, a lot of these things are done because of us and not particularly because of the plant.
Now, if I got bare ground, should I be using a higher phosphorus fertilizer on that too? Then is that the idea? I mean, because more of the established ones, it's more nitrogen based. From what I've what I remember,
You don't really want to get me involved in phosphorus, do you? Because I think it's a crock.
is it really? Okay.
Well, it's a rock, man. It don't go anywhere.
All
I mean,
right.
phosphorus leaches off of more farms and stuff like nitrogen and stuff. And there's been many studies that say it's kind of like a soft and fuzzy, in my opinion. It's a tree hugging deal. Oh, it's phosphorus that's caused everything. Best thing you can do when you plant grass seed is put phosphorus down. Phosphorus makes roots grow.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So
though.
what the heck's wrong with putting phosphorus on your lawn?
Oh, that's what
As
I'm getting
long
at,
as
though.
you
That
don't-
especially if it's new,
and you're allowed,
have bare ground.
to.
Okay.
And if you put sod or seed, you're allowed to use phosphorus.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to buy a product with phosphorus in it
Yeah.
now. That middle number's gone.
Right.
But, I mean, let's be realistic. Phosphorus is a rock. If it's on your soil and you're not washing it into the storm sewer and you're not getting it on, that's the biggest deal. If anything you get on your sidewalk or your driveway, sweep it back in the lawn.
Right, get it on
Don't
the lawn.
hose it down into the sewers so it runs into the lakes, into the rivers.
Sure.
That's the biggest deal. And, man, there's so many studies and stories about, people from, even in Minnesota when they started the whole thing, the guy from the U said, it's not true. It's not. Lawns aren't the problem. There's lots of other reasons. Goose are probably more of a phosphorus problem than anything else we got out there.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yes, if you're putting sod down,
Or new seed.
nobody listens to this, right?
Quite a few people actually, Jensen.
Well, no governmental people.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Big brother. If I was putting a little piece of sod, I'd do my whole lawn with phosphorus.
Would you?
I
Yeah.
would buy one that says seed starting formula. It's probably like
an 1824,
18, yeah,
or
something like that.
that.
18, 24, 10. Boom.
Yeah.
Do it because I think it's the best thing you can do.
Because it stimulates that
That's
root
what
growth. That's what you want to do.
Back
That's
in
what
the
you're there to
day-
do.
Back in the day, full fertilizer was 18, 24, 10.
Yeah. That's
It
what
always-
it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, nitrogen grows leaves. What do we care about leaves? Leaves.
Right.
First of all, we got cool weather grasses, which actually means we don't have to worry about them growing in the fall because it's cool weather grasses. That's when they, what does your lawn do in the middle of summer if you're not watering it? It stops.
It goes dormant. Right.
Right. So
It doesn't die. It's just dormant.
It's just dormant. It just stops. So, in my opinion, this is it's coming into the perfect time. We're still going to be hot. First couple of weeks of September could even be hot.
Yeah.
But
I think it's going to be too.
anytime in this next 3-week period, I think would be the time.
Right.
Unless you, and I know you will go
I'll
out.
get out there, yeah.
You'll water it in the morning early. You'll water it sometime in the middle of the day, and you'll water it again later on. And once it starts growing, like we said, let it get up, filled in, grown. Not the first couple of little thin blades you see.
Right.
Let it fill in. And
Yeah.
that's why I like putting a lot of grass seed.
Yeah.
An exorbitant amount of grass seed because you want it to fill in.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you got
spotty this, spotty
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then what do you do then?
Like you
start
said,
all
where it
over?
says use two pounds
I go
per
5.
1,000, go
I go
5.
5.
Yeah, just get a lot of grass in there. There's an excuse on my part too because I bought this unit and I didn't get a chance to use it last year, and I got a hose to go with it. Actually, I had several hoses, but it's one of those timer guys. And it's got
So
the
you
little
could-
electronic deal.
that you can with the batteries. You
With the
connect it up.
batteries, and so what I'm going to do is, and so that's why I know I'm going to water 3 or 4 times a day on this spot or
Right.
these spots,
Right.
because I'm going to hook up a couple of hoses. Just keep that hose turned on. Keep an eye on that, obviously, and I don't want it
That's
to come
not a big deal.
Not a big
It
deal.
should
No,
be fine.
no, it's going to be fine. My connections are good. Everything's fine.
and
And
set
then
it-
and just let that rascal do its timer deal and do it at
10, 15 minutes.
yeah, at 10 or 15
And
minutes.
on the other end, you're
at-
oscillating or whatever you
at,
got.
5 in the morning, at 6 in the morning or something, and then at noon or 2 o'clock, and then
If you
another.
could do it 3 times with
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that'd be
yeah,
fabulous.
Yeah, and then
if you can only
and then
do
maybe
2,
one more at midnight, just a little zoop zoop, and then we're done.
if you can do 2, do the 2. You're not going to be there, and then when you come home for dinner, you can maybe water it yourself.
But I'm just going to let the geeky thing do it all.
So here's another thing. What are we always talking about? It's time. Start planting those other things. Get some peas in the ground.
Yeah, those
You
fall.
know, get the
some of those.
fall.
That's-
Get
that
the
second
lettuce.
fall
It's
harvest.
time, man.
Yep.
Direct sow. You know, the other thing is, I was reading this article the other day. Kind of, well, it made sense. Basil always tastes better on younger plants. So it's a great time
To
to
get
stick
some
some
new
basil
basil
in,
in, yeah.
because it tastes better. You know when basil gets that woody kind
Oh,
of deal.
sure, yeah.
It's okay. It's better than anything
Not
you
having
could-
basil.
Right, exactly. But the best, soft, most flavor basil is on a younger plant.
Yeah, sure.
That hasn't gone woody yet. And like we always say, always pick it in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's always better. It's more flavorful right early in the morning than it is. And don't let it go to seed. Cut those flat seed heads off.
If you're pulling that basil in the morning, put it in the fridge then, that sort of thing. Or I mean, if you're not going to use it until
Yeah, if
later,
you're not going to use
Yeah.
it, it's not going to go bad in the course of a
Right. Oh,
you know,
yeah,
wrap it
half
in
a
a
day
towel,
or a day.
right? Wrap it in a towel,
little
put it in there.
moist paper towel or
Yeah,
something, and get it in the
wrap it in a
fridge. Yeah.
towel. And get some mutts, a couple, some tomatoes.
So, are they still selling the little basil plants? at the store?
The thing is, you
Where are you gonna
usually
find
find. Well, you could do seed still.
Okay,
you
good.
could do
All
direct
right.
seed.
Okay.
But if not, I mean, usually herbs are out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, usually there's somebody always selling because culinary herbs or
'Cause the herb garden
kitchen
thing.
herbs, that kind
Mm-hmm.
of deal. So you know, if you found a little plant to be fine. If not, there's still time. I mean, we got a growing season till the end of October.
Nice.
You know, well, middle October.
Yeah, yeah.
At the beginning of October. No.
Yeah, no, but
Middle
yeah,
of October has been legit lately.
I think we're going to go that long.
Well-
I think we will.
Not only do we seem to go that long now, it's just more abrupt. It
Oh, so
doesn't-
when the change
it
happens,
doesn't seem
yeah.
to get cooler as
You're
we go
absolutely
along.
right, yeah.
It's like hot, hot, hot. Ooh, it just
And then it snowed.
It snowed 8 inches. You know what I mean? It does seem to be that lately.
It
I mean,
has
you know,
been,
like,
right.
hey, we're doing great here. We're doing this, we're doing that. Boom! All of a sudden, the next day you get 7 inches of snow. And you know, so it's what it's like now. It's,
So yeah,
you
get
know,
that
you-
lettuce in there. Get some fresh basil in there. Start from seed.
peas,
Peas,
and
like you said.
cut-
yeah.
anything, you know, beans even. If you don't
Get
have
a second
like,
crop in
wow,
there.
you get a second crop of beans going before.
Sure you can.
I mean, everybody says, "Oh, you know, the frost is, you know, in the middle of a hard killing frost is in the middle of September." Maybe,
Yeah, maybe not though.
maybe not though.
Right.
You might be. It's a quick growing plant.
And you know what the heck? It's also a couple bucks on a thing of seed here, a couple bucks there.
Less
It's
than
not
a
a whole,
buck.
or a buck because they're selling them at half price now.
Right,
Exactly.
probably if they got them still.
Right. So yeah, it's just not that big of an expense.
Right, and I mean, beans might be the iffy one, but all the other ones we mentioned. Fabulous.
That lettuce is
Let
going
it
to come
get
up in a
cold.
matter of weeks. It's
And
going
let
to
it
be
get
there.
cold. It likes it cold, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So peas, no problem. Peas will take it cold.
And yeah, like you said, the basil and all that
Basil,
stuff. It's going to
fresh
be it's going to
basil.
be up. It's going to be sprigging pretty fast.
Well,
Yeah.
ground's warm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not waiting for anything.
So that's a great idea, especially the garden herb stuff. And boy, oh boy, I do love that pesto in the middle of February.
Ain't that
You
the
know,
best?
get that
Do you
basil
make it
rocking.
the whole thing and then throw the cheese in later?
Yeah, exactly.
I add oil and everything.
Yeah, I do the whole thing with the pine nuts and the oil, and then
So the pine nuts. We use walnuts a lot.
Oh, yeah, walnuts are great too.
We use walnuts.
Yeah, we do both because the pine nuts are so expensive now.
And a little tiny bowl.
Yeah, and then do the ice cube tray.
Yeah, you could do that,
Yeah.
or we make little like packages that we know are enough for.
Oh, that's what I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got the food saver deal. So I
Right,
do the
see.
so I can
Perfect.
portion it out with the ice cube
Right,
tray,
right.
and then I will do like 4 of them in a little food saver
That
deal.
you know enough for a pound
That's
of
enough.
max.
Exactly. Or
Yeah,
I'm going to
that's
make spaghetti. Boom. I got to this and that. Boom.
right.
And just add the whole package in there.
That's what we usually do. 'Cause
But the ice cube tray helps
it's
me
good for
portion
later
that
on,
a little bit
for a
better.
little later for down the road, just for a little shot.
Oh man, it just adds
This is a great time.
that smell and that flavor of summer in the middle of winter, and that's another
But we
part of the
should-
lazy planning right now.
We should really talk about that a little bit more in the coming days. What to do with your excess bounty.
That sounds like a great idea.
How you gonna? We got to know. Well, I know you do it, but we got to know an expert on canning and preserving. And,
absolutely.
you know, how to make your at the end when you're harvesting. Well, I know how to do that. Green tomatoes, how to get them to turn red in your house and stuff.
Well, like when we had chef and author and nutritionist Robin Asbell join us.
We should have Robin back.
You know, she really got into that. She and her mother, lovely mother, was here with her.
We should get her back in a full.
She doesn't do a lot of canning, but she does a lot of freezing.
Right,
and that's a cool topic
freezing.
to cover.
I like freezing.
I do too. Although I like to can, you know, I like to. It's just fun
like
to
I
do.
said, I've never done it. I'd like to. I'd like to do a little experimenting.
Well, we're here to do that with you, Bobby.
Oh, you're the man.
We're all in. We're all in with you, Bay.
Hey, Bay.
We're all
hey,
in.
Bay.
So
What
we'll
up,
do
Bay?
that. We'll tee that up for a Lazy Gardener show. You know, maybe not next week, but certainly over the next couple of weeks.
After Labor Day.
As the harvest is coming in after Labor Day, right?
Yeah, after Labor Day would be a great time.
We'll get that going.
Late this year, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's September 7th.
It's about as late as it was. Is as late as it can be.
Absolutely. So that means the state fair is not starting until the 27th, if I remember the day right.
I'll be there the 29th.
Got a whole run of fair stuff with Grow with Care with Belinda. Then I'm guessing, huh?
Yeah, there are 2 days. You know, in fact, we were just talking
always
about
fun being out there, though.
I love it.
I
think it's the crowds. It's an audience. We don't have an audience.
Exactly.
We got 3 grouchy guys that are up early. You know? Don't want to be there on a Saturday
What are you
morning.
talking about with me? Yeah.
But you know, it's a crowd, and it drives me crazy, man. I get there early because I like to steal a golf cart and ride around. And
Take in a little bit.
we're gonna check the place out, have a cup of coffee.
That's what I do too.
Go one of my favorite places.
One of the dining halls.
Hey, little eggs and breakfast. But there's those people. I mean, they run to the place at 6 as soon as the gates are open.
They are there.
And they've been doing it forever.
Yeah. Well, that's the Great Minnesota Get Together. That's what it's all about. It's get together.
So I was telling this weekend, I was telling someone, we were talking about the state fair. And they asked me, well, how's the New Jersey State Fair? And my answer was, I don't know if they have a state fair. No, they do, but I don't know anybody's ever gone to it.
Right, and where is it? Bayonne or is it?
No, it's not Bayonne. There's no land in Bayonne. It's like it's got to be somewhere. It's the Garden State. It's got to be.
It's got to have something
somewhere. But I've never been to the New Jersey.
There's no
State
land
Fair.
in Bayonne.
No, there is no land in Bayonne. There's maybe a park.
Yeah.
Maybe. Probably can't even dig in the soil.
Come up with something that you don't want to be around.
You're talking about my home.
Well,
I started it.
Yep, you started it.
Yeah, so, it is an amazing thing. It is a unique thing. Even other states local around close by doesn't compete. It's not as 2 million people.
Those folks at the Lone Star State, they
supposedly
have it, but they do have it in terms of attendance, but they're open for an entire month.
Right. Which is unfair.
This is 12 days of Great Minnesota getting together.
Which is insane.
And, it's like, if you look at the numbers, that equates to about 34% of the population of Minnesota. Just, if you compare the numbers.
Right. I mean, we're 4 or 5, right? Somewhere around that.
You obviously have people coming in from out of state, but,
but it doesn't matter. The
number of people that attend equates to about 34% of the population.
I had state fair stories. We had a cameraman that we used, Rover, for years.
I know Rover.
He had
Paul Roverstad.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a routine. He ate this as soon as he got there. Then he went to this. And he's been doing it since he's a little kid.
Right.
And he I gotta go down, get the sandwich.
I can't break my routine.
Right. I gotta get the sandwich from the guy that's usually underneath the thing around the corner there. I gotta get that. That's today. I eat that today. It's crazy. But how many people?
He's got his checklist.
How many people have those kind of traditions,
hundreds
man.
and thousands have that same kind of pattern, right?
I mean, as much as we make fun of the state fair, it's tradition.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about.
People come from everywhere. Their mother brought them. Their grandmother brought them. They bring their kids. Their kids' kids.
We could always count on the same jokes from my dad every year because he'd be in the beer garden and the one strategically located next to the DNR fire tower.
Oh,
so
nice.
we knew where to find them.
Because you could see it, right?
Because you could see it. And you could count on the same joke from the old man every year if there was about quarter of an inch of beer left in that cup, he'd just light a new cigarette or whatever. His elbow would hit it, and he'd find a strategic place for it to spill. And geez, I spilled my beer. Well, I better get another. And every year that's tradition.
And the cigarette, that's the thing too. The cigarette,
too, yeah.
You don't go to.
You can't. Back in the day,
not a lot.
No more of that around the fairgrounds.
Yeah, I was watching.
They got the smoking ares now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we're all better.
And everybody walks past them. Kill yourself.
And some of the people are walking by. Oh God! I quit 5 years ago. That sure looks good.
Well, that's me, man. Let me tell you.
That really looks good. Well, Bobby, we're done. We got to wrap this show up.
This is the last show?
One. No, we're not done.
We're just done for today.
We're done for today.
Scared me there for a minute.
So don't forget, Lazy Gardener's summer tip, late summer gardening tip number 1 is beer. And then everything else goes from there.
Everything always flows from the beer.
And
thanks for listening.
That's what the Lazy Gardeners are all about, making more beer time for you. And
your loved ones.
Experience the soil, love your garden, but don't overdo it out there.
There you go.